Good morning, students. Today, in the front-end design tool VB.NET lecture series, we will discuss more about accessing data from Server Explorer. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about ADO.NET data namespaces and ADO.NET, architecture or ADO.NET object model. Before that, we have also discussed what is ADO and ADO.NET. So, how actually we are accessing the data from the server Explorer. Let's see. Let's start accessing data from the server Explorer. So, the .NET framework provides two type of connection classes. One is called SQL connection. Another is called OLEDB connection. In the SQL connection, it is designed for connecting to Microsoft SQL Server. OLEDB connection is designed for connecting to a wide range of databases like Microsoft Access and Oracle. We have a table stored in Microsoft SQL Server named customers in a database named testdb. Okay, so we have stored a table in the Microsoft SQL. In the SQL Server, we have made a table. Okay, जिसका for the name for that table is customers. Okay, and the name of the database is testdb, and the name of the table is customer. So in a Microsoft SQL Server, you will make a database, create database, and then give the name of that database is testdb. After creating the database, you will create a table in that and give the name of that table is customer. So after when you will give the name of the table is customers. So after that, the .NET framework provides two type of this connection classes, SQL connection and OLEDB connection. So in SQL connection, it is designed for connecting to Microsoft SQL Server. OLEDB connection, it is designed for connecting to a whole to a wide range of databases like Microsoft Access and Oracle. Okay, so we have a table stored in Microsoft SQL Server named customers, and this we have discussed, and is the name of the database is testdb. Now let us connect to this database. The name of the database is testdb, name of the table is customer. Now we will have to connect to this database, the database which we have created whose name is testdb. Now we will connect to this database. So how we will connect, what are the steps? Now we will see that step. So take the following step. Number one, select in the select tools in the Visual Studio, select tools, and in the tools you will find one option that is connect to database. So in this tools option, you will select connect to database. As you can see in this figure here, first of all, you will open this, and in the Visual Studio, whatever the Visual Studio you are using, either 2013 or the latest, then you will use tools, then connect to database. Click on connect to database. After when you will connect to this connect to database, now select a server name and the database name, and add connection dialog box. So here you can see whatever the server name, as far as whatever the server name you have given, you will take that server name, and after select the server name. Okay, and when you will select the server name, add connection dialog box. So in this way you will add connection, and here there is one option that is the test connection. So when you will connecting to a database, it will connect this to a database, and when you will click on the test connection, okay, so you will click on the test connection button to check if this connection is succeeded or failure. So if the this alert come test connection succeeded, means to say then your connection is the server is succeeded. Now suppose you wish to add a data grid view on the form. So, you make a form, whatever you are making. So by default, the name is come, that is the form one. So when this form one is come, then you choose data server. So from this drop down menu or the form above, from this drop down menu, you can choose your source, whatever the name of the your source table, where you actually in the database test DB you have one customer, so you will have to choose actually that, so that this data, whatever the tables you are using, that table's data will appear in this form, in the form of a grid view. So click on the choose data source combo box. This this is the choose data source combo box. When you will click here, okay. So now you choose data source combo box. Now click on the add project data source link. Here you will find the add project data source. So now you will have to click on the add project data source link to connect to the data. So now when you will click on the add project data source link, okay, you will see this opens the data source configuration wizard. When you will when you will click on add project data source, you will find this opens the data source configuration wizard. So it will select database as the data source type. So first of all, you will find services, objects, database. So since we are connecting to the database, that is why we will select database. When we will select this database, now choose data set as the database model. Here you will find two things, entity or data model or data set. So after choosing a database, we will choose a database model. So in this database model, we will choose actually data set. So we will choose actually we call that data set. So choose data set as the database model. Okay. So choose the connection already set up. Now choose your data connection. So now which data connection should your application use to connect to database. So from here you will choose the database connection. Now when you will choose this, which is already set up, we have already set up this, and save the connection string, test connection string. So in this way, yes, save the connections are in the test db connection string. So in this way, you will save test db connection string. Now choose the database object. After selecting that, you will choose the database object. Customers tables, for example, since we have given the customer tables, and click the when you will choose the customer table, you will use the you will click the finish button, so that this process will finish, and you will select the preview data link to see the data in the result grid. You will find a preview data link. So when you will click on that preview data link, you can see here the preview data link. You will click on this. You will can find that whatever the data is in the customer table, you will find here in the form of this grid. When the application is run using Start button available at the Microsoft Visual Studio toolbar, will show the following window. So when you will show this, you will find the following window. Now, accessing data through coding. So now let us access data in a data grid view control using the coding. To take the following steps: add a data grid view control and a button in the form. You take the file new form. In the form, you will just add a data grid view control and a button in the form. To change the text of the button, control to fill. So now we will change the property of the button name. We change it to click fill. Now double click the button control to add the required code for the click event of the button. Okay, as now we will write the code. So what the code you will write on the form, that is public class form one. private sub former underscore load. At the time of the load, this will to do this, this is the command line. This line of code uses data into the testdb data set dot customers table. So you can move or remove it as needed. Me dot customers table adapter dot fill me dot test db dataset dot customers. Now set the caption bar text to the form. Like in this we have me dot text, we have set jimcn.org. Now and stuff. Okay. In this when you will, whatever the coding you will write on the button. So when you will click on, double click on this button, on the button click event, you will find in the data. So what you will write here, dim connection as SQL connection. Connection is a variable. It is of type SQL connection equals to new SQL connection. So here this S will be capital and C will be capital. I have written small. Then connection string equals to data source. Whatever the data source you have chosen, you can give that. Initial catalog is GB integrated security true. Now connection dot open. We will open the connection. First of all, we will open the connection. Then we will write them at ADP as SQL data adapter. New SQL data adapter underscore. New SQL data adapter. Then we will write select star from customers and connection. Mean to say in this query we are selecting all the fields of the customer table. Now we will write dim ds as data set equals to new data set. Now with the SQL data adapters object, and that is adp.fill ds is the data set. Okay, so this ds we will fill, and now data grid view one dot data source equals to ds dot table 0. Here table 0 means to say the first table. In a database, you may have different tables. Let's say you have 4-5 tables. So if you wish to add first table, then you will write ds dot table 0. If you wish to add second table, you will write ds dot tables 1, 2, 3, and so on. Here we will end sub in the end class. So in this way, we will write this coding. You will run this coding, and you will get the some sort of, you. So when the above code is executed and run using start button available at the Microsoft Visual Studio toolbar, it will show the following window. So here you are able to see a button that is called fill. Are you able to see this button? Yes. So now when you will click on this button fill, you will actually find the data, whatever the data you have filled. So check clicking the fill button, display the table on the data grid view coding, and you will see the data in this way. Okay. So this is accessing the data through coding, and see, we are actually using this. So we have seen two things. One, we have seen that accessing the data with the help of the, this procedures, or you can say the data grid control. And in the second part, we have also seen the accessing the data through coding. So these two things in this, what you are, we will have to remember. You will have to remember that before accessing the data will must be there. So what you will do, you will please, for you can say that you will have to remember these points. That first of all, create, make a SQL server connection, create a database. In a database, you may have several tables. Okay, so now connect to that table, to that grid and data adapter and data set, and then when you will run this, you will find that this, this in the form of the data. So here I will stop thanking you, and this is the reference, and now, and the next we will discuss data set with OLEDB, data set with SQLDB, and data binding. So thank you students for listening.